Hey everybody, how's it going? This is John Breed and it is March 14th, 2021. It is Sunday night and I've got a lot to talk about. Obviously, the Phoenix race weekend just wrapped up. Cup and Xfinity action this weekend. And Martin Truex Jr., for the 28th time in his career, is a NASCAR Cup winner. His first time winning at the Phoenix Raceway. He passed Joey Logano on a late restart with 25 laps to go. Drove to the victory. And he is now the fifth different winner of 2021. The first time since 2017 have we opened a season with 5 different winners in 5 different races. So, I've been out this week, been busy with school, so I ended up skipping the Vegas review show and prediction show for this weekend. So, overall with Vegas, I thought Vegas was a pretty good race for the Cup guys, as well as the Xfinity race. I thought that was a really good race as well. And today's race, I didn't think it was too bad. I was kind of bored midway through, but towards the end there were a lot of good restarts and lots of shuffling on pit road. And overall, I thought not too bad towards the end. I thought there were some good restarts in it to where it wasn't a total boring race. And Martin Truex Jr. back in victory lane. And I remember at the beginning of the year, I was skeptical on how Martin Truex Jr. would do this year in terms of wins. Because if you remember last season, he only won one race, which was Martinsville. And I was just a little concerned. I mean, he's always been a consistent driver, but the wins were not there for him last year. So I thought this year was going to be interesting to see where Truex fell, and he is answered immediately with a win. I mean, we'll see what happens. We've seen guys win early in the year and then not end up winning again the entire season, but I have a feeling the way Truex has ran to start these first 5 races that I expect him to get multiple wins here in 2021 and have a shot at the championship. And obviously, we're back here at Phoenix for the championship race in November, so Truex making a statement here early on that he wants to win his second title. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a decent race. I missed most of the Xfinity race. I saw kind of bits and pieces of it, but that looked like a pretty decent race as well. But I thought today's race was okay. Lots of interesting things happening. I mean, Joey Logano, once again, coming up short. I mean, that's the third race this year where, it looked like Logano could potentially win the race, and it didn't happen for him. And so, I mean, obviously he's had some good runs, so surely he will break in victory lane soon. But, potentially could have been 3 wins for Logano this year. You look at the Daytona 500, had not what happened on the last lap not happened. Logano would have won the Daytona 500, and he not got passed by Bell on the last lap of the road course. He would have won that. And had he not gotten passed on that last restart there, he would have won today at Phoenix. So if you didn't see it, there was a restart with 25 laps to go, and Logano was the control car for the restart, and he was on the inside, Truex was on the outside, and they went down into turn 1, and they had the PJ1, that dark surface up on the top of the racetrack that makes the top the preferred driving lane. And Truex was on the top and basically just cleared him off the corner. And Logano drove it in as deep as he could, but just couldn't quite pull it off. And Truex got away, and there were no cautions in those last 25 laps, and Truex cruised to the victory. And so he is once again in victory lane. I'll go ahead and go over my notes here. Recap it here. A lot of cars had to go to the back for this race because they failed pre-race inspection. Some of the names included Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, William Byron. 3 of the Hendrick cars had to go to the back. So the race started with Brad Keselowski on the pole, and he led, I believe, the first 2 laps, and then Denny Hamlin immediately took the lead on lap 3, and Christopher Bell moved in his second. And Martin Truex Jr. actually brushed the wall early in this race. He just got a little too close to it, got loose. I was worried he was going to have a tire go down because the way he hit it, the right rear looked like it took some took a significant swipe there to the wall. I figured he may have a rub, but luckily the competition caution came out at lap 30, and if he did have a rub, it was not going to be a factor at that point. So the competition caution was at lap 30, and Brad Keselowski was the first off of pit road, and Kyle Larson was too fast on pit road, so he had to go to the back. And so they restarted, and quickly Ryan Blaney got to the front here on lap 44. And then lap 46, Alex Bowman went around, and the caution came out. Looked like kind of an accordion effect there going into turns 1 and 2 with him and Ross Chastain. And he just kind of got sideways, got hit from behind. Luckily, not too significant damage. I think he had some fender damage, but overall he was able to keep going and actually finished 9th, I believe, in this race. Oh no, sorry, that's wrong. 13th. He was 13th at the day's end. And so, anyway, they go back green, and Ryan Blaney was able to hold off Joey Logano, who was starting to give him a run there late in the stage, but he was able to hold him off for the Stage 1 win. And Brad Keselowski was third, so it was a Penske 1-2-3 for Stage 1. So it was all about the Penske cars early on. And off pit road, Joey Logano was off pit road first. His pit crew was really on it today. Really helped him out a lot of the points in the race. And so Logano got out front. But then another caution would come at lap 90. Pretty hard hit for Anthony Alfredo, and Cody Ware got into him. And Fox only showed like one angle of the replay, so it was unsure what exactly happened. I don't know if Cody Ware was intentionally trying to wreck him, or if he had some sort of problem and got in Alfredo, but it looked like a pretty nasty wreck. And so they were both out there on lap 90. And so then they had another restart, and there was some good racing going on for third place between Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, and Denny Hamlin. Lots of good side-by-side racing. And there was also nearly a crash here going down the front stretch through the dogleg between Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch. So Busch is on the inside and Larson's on the outside. And Busch looked like he was going to go down like on the apron. And he quickly kind of came back up, and at the same time, Larson was about to side draft Kyle Busch on his outside, and somehow they did not make contact. I don't know how, but it was a crazy near miss. And Kyle Busch at one point, I had to point it out because I just thought that was just really odd. He was so calm on the radio talking about the grip of the racetrack, and he mentioned the PJ1, and he said something along the lines of, I just don't know if I'm missing something or if we just don't have it compared to all the other guys out there. But he was very calm on the radio and kind of just asking questions, which usually surprised me because if you listen to some Kyle Busch sound bites, he's not usually calm, cool, and collected. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. And green flag pit stops were around lap 140, and Kyle Larson, another pit road penalty, too fast to enter in, and then Kyle Busch. This was the beginning of the end for Kyle in this race. He just had a disastrous race. An uncontrolled tire on this pit stop ended up going a lap down. And so then the lead cycled back to Joey Logano, and he would go on to win Stage 2. Not a lot happening. I mean, obviously the crash there at lap 90, but overall Joey Logano was really dominating there in Stage 2. So Logano won the second stage, and they had pit stops. Chase Elliott got a speeding penalty under the Stage 2 stops. And so then they restarted to begin Stage 3, and Martin Truex nearly spun Joey Logano on the restart. Logano was the leader, and Truex was third, and they got to the starting line, and Truex just nearly spun Logano right to the inside wall, but luckily he was able to save it. But then Truex got by Logano for the lead with 89 laps to go. And this is where Logano started to fade a bit. Hamlin got by him for second, and then Brad Keselowski started battling for third, and then he ended up just coming in for his green flag pit stop with 65 to go. And these were looking like it was going to be the last stops of the race, but that would obviously change with all the cautions. So they took pit stops, and the lead cycled back to Martin Truex and Kyle Larson. with 57 to go. That was the top two. Larson, after 2 speeding penalties, was able to come back and still run second late in the going. And so then, right after these pit stops, Kyle Busch actually tagged the wall a bit. And it looked like he was going to have a tire down, but he kept going. And 6 laps later, 51 laps to go, Tyler Reddick had a flat right front, and the caution came out. So this is when things would start to get interesting. So they came into pit road, and Logano comes into the pits 5th, and he comes out 1st. Everybody taking 4 tire stops, and somehow Logano's team got him out front. So like I mentioned earlier, Logano's pit crew was really getting it done today. And Bubba Wallace actually stayed out, and so they restarted, and Bubba spun the tires on the restart, wasn't able to stay with the front runners, and Keselowski took the lead on the restart. Kyle Larson had a great save right here when Bubba Wallace was battling him for 3rd, kind of slid. Larson was on the bottom, and Bubba was on the outside, and they kind of came off the corner, and Larson nearly lost it, and Chase Elliott worked his way back to the top 10. Remember, he had that speeding penalty, and he was out of the frame for a while. I remember seeing him around like 18th or 20th after that pit road penalty, but he worked his way back up here. And Logano regained the lead from Keselowski with 39 laps to go. And then Truex would take 2nd from Brad with 31 laps to go, and this was when Kyle Busch would spin out after looked like he got loose, and then Ross Chastain kind of got into him, and Kyle didn't seem too happy with Chastain. I forgot exactly what he said on the radio. He said something weird like, I'm glad Chastain spun me out because I was about to spin him out, or something weird like that. I don't know. It was weird. Kyle Busch had some weird quotes over the radio in this race, but overall, it was a very bad day for Kyle Busch. He ended up finishing, I believe, 25th. I'll check the results here in a minute, but not a good day for KFB. So we had a restart here with 25 laps to go, and this was the one I mentioned in the beginning. And so Truex was on the outside, Logano was on the inside. Logano tried to dig on the bottom as much as he could, but couldn't make it happen. Truex took the lead. And then at one point here, Bubba Wallace got into Cole Custer and slammed him into the wall. They were battling for a spot, and Custer was trying to slide up in front of Bubba. And then Bubba, when trying to cross over, got into Custer and threw him into the wall, and somehow there was no caution. And so, yeah, then Martin Truex Jr. would go on and win the race. 28th career victory and his first win at Phoenix Raceway. Overall, I mean, it was an okay race. I thought it was good by the end. But, I mean, the big stories in this race were obviously Truex and Logano. And Logano's car was probably the best car on the track for the first half of the race. And then the second half of the race, the best car was Truex. But Logano's pit crew was able to keep him up front and even get him back up front at some points. And the other big story was obviously Kyle Busch. I mean, Kyle just had a horrible day, and certainly one he would like to forget. And believe it or not, I was looking at the Cup Series standings. We are 5 races into the season, and Kyle Busch has led 0 laps in 2021. I mean, that I'd have to go back and look at Kyle Busch's stats, like his first 5 races compared to like other years. I mean, at least since he's gotten in the 18 car in 2008, I mean, there's no way that Kyle Busch has ever been 5 races in the year and not led any laps. I'd have to go look at that. Like I said, I don't know that for sure, but I find that to be impossible. Granted, some of it is bad luck. I mean, he definitely had some bad luck today. I mean, the pit crew did not help him, and he got into it with Chastain a bit. But I don't know. I'm a little concerned. We'll see what happens in Atlanta, and obviously Bristol. I mean, Bristol's going to be wild because it's on the dirt. But I don't know. I'm a little concerned about Kyle here. I mean, we'll see what happens. Harvick, I'm not as concerned with. I mean, Harvick has really not been lighting the world on fire so far in 2021, but he is at least running consistent. He did finish 6th today. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily as worried about him, but boy, Kyle Busch, man, I'm just a little concerned. So, there you go. I'll go ahead and go through this finishing order here, go through the top 10 and then some other significant finishers. We have Mark Truex Jr., of course, winning the race. Joey Logano was 2nd. Denny Hamlin was 3rd. Brad Keselowski is 4th. Chase Elliott the top 5. The usual suspects showed up to race today. I mean, the cream definitely rose to the top in this race. I mean, you saw William Byron win Homestead, obviously Christopher Bell, the Daytona Road Course, McDowell, the 500. But the players came out to play today. And you can see by that top 5 as well as through, 6th through 10th. You have Harvick 6th, Larson 7th, Byron 8th, Bell 9th, and Blaney 10th. Look, I'm not writing off Byron and Bell. I mean, those guys are running very consistent. All I'm saying is, we haven't seen much out of Truex and Hamlin and Chase so far this year. There's so many of these guys that are still winless to start this year. But, yeah, definitely Byron and Bell, they are showing that, their wins so far this year have not been flukes. So here's some other significant finishers, notable finishers. 13th was Alex Bowman. Remember, he came back from that spin early in the race. Kurt Busch was 15th. You had Bubba Wallace 16th. Showed some promise today. Bubba was up, in the top 20 and top 10s at some points of the race. So decent run for those guys. Chris Buescher was 18th. So the great week he had at Homestead a few weeks back did not show here today. So very interesting. You had Eric Jones 20th. He actually looked good at most points of the race. Saw him up in 13th at one point. Kyle Busch, as mentioned, 25th place. Ryan Newman 28th. That one surprised me. I figured Ryan would have a better run. He's a 2-time winner at Phoenix, and he's coming off some solid runs at Homestead and Vegas, so that one surprised me a little bit. Cole Custer, 31st. I mean, obviously that was after the contact with Bubba Wallace. And there you go. So that is the Cup race. Xfinity, like I mentioned, I didn't see much of it. Obviously, I know Austin Cindric won the race, his second win of 2021. And Ty Gibbs, 2nd place. Boy, what a great season this guy's had so far. Won his very first Cup start, and here we go, a 2nd place at Phoenix. And had to storm through that last restart to get to it. I mean, that last restart was pretty crazy. You had guys in the wall and all over the place. I mean, Daniel Hemrick got in the wall. Justin Allgaier was in the wall. I mean, Daniel Hemrick, this poor guy. Is this guy ever going to win a race? This guy cannot win. I mean, seriously, I don't know what it is. I mean, he puts himself in position. He leads a lot of laps. And then towards the end, it just doesn't happen for the guy. I mean, I'm not trying to trash him or anything. I like the guy, and I hope he wins soon. I just don't understand. I don't know. He just cannot seem to close the deal. I'm sure he's going to get a win at some point. But, I mean, he's a very talented race car driver. I don't know. He won the 2nd stage in this race. He was leading late in the end. Obviously, last week in Las Vegas, I thought it was going to happen for him, and it didn't. A.J. Allmendinger, of course, won last week at Las Vegas. I don't know, man. And then, obviously, I saw somewhere that Josh Berry flipped somebody off. I don't actually know who it was because I didn't see the wreck, but I saw he flipped somebody off, so that's pretty cool. So, yeah, from the bits and pieces that I saw, it looked like a pretty good race. Noah Gragson had an engine problem. Yikes. I mean, all the talk that he's done. I mean, the stuff he said to David Starr and things like that, and to come back at Phoenix 2 weeks later and have that have an engine blow up, not good. Had a decent run in Las Vegas last week though, but yeah, not good here at Phoenix. So I'll go ahead and go through the finishing order. Interesting top 10. Austin Cindric won the race. Ty Gibbs was second. Brandon Brown was third. Great run for him. Riley Herbst fourth. AJ Allmendinger fifth. And then you had Jeb Burton. Bailey Curry, seventh place. You had Justin Allgaier eighth. Brett Moffitt ninth. And Jeremy Clements 10th. So there you go. And they head to Atlanta next week. I mean, obviously, Austin Cindric, I mean, he's going to be hard to beat for the championship this year. I mean, that's apparent. I said that at the beginning of the year, and he's proven that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in 2021. I mean, he's going to be the guy to beat, no question. 119 laps led of the 200, and the second win of 2021 for that 22 team. All right, so that is the race recaps. The only other thing I want to talk about is something I missed last week since I didn't do a show, and that's with Natalie Decker. But hold on one second. All right, sorry about that. I had to get a sip of water. Anyway, Natalie Decker. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this tweet. This is from last week. This is from Natalie Decker. Hey, NASCAR on Fox. My team and I worked our butts off last year to make history, quote, highest finishing female in the truck series. Last night and tonight during the race, you acknowledged most of the female drivers for Women History Month, but me. Thank you for your support. Frowny face. So, yes, I mean, look, I didn't even hear it. I don't even know what names they mentioned, but I guess they mentioned a bunch of names for Women's History Month, acknowledging the female pioneers of the sport. I mean, obviously, I'm sure they mentioned Janet Guthrie and Shauna Robinson and obviously Danica Patrick. I don't know if they mentioned Hailie Deegan or not. They may have. But, I mean, it's obvious they did not mention Natalie Decker. I guess I'll keep this brief, my opinion on this. It's best to just always remain quiet. And I like Natalie, but, I mean, to me, I think it's just best to not speak on these kind of things. And I say that because it can damage your reputation a bit. I mean, because if I just scroll through these tweets, I mean, it's obvious that this tweet came off as, whiny and being a complainer. And that's not something you want. Do I think she should have tweeted it? I mean, no, I don't think she should have. I think she should have let the fans kind of talk for her, have the fans, say things, well, what about Natalie Decker and things like that. And some people aren't going to say that because some people are going to say, well, Natalie has not done enough to get recognized. And just overall, I think speaking on it in this manner just makes you look like you're complaining. And to me, that's not a good thing. It's best to just always keep quiet and stay humble. And I mean, that's just my opinion on it. I mean, other people are going to have their opinions on it. I just don't think she should have tweeted it. Do I think NASCAR on Fox should have mentioned her as the highest finishing female in the truck series? Sure, I do. Now, look, I don't even know how long this segment was. Were they coming back from commercial and they just briefly went over some of the big names? Or was it this whole thing at the beginning of the pre-race? I mean, I didn't even see it, so it's unfair for me to say. But if it was like a brief mention or whatever, I mean, yeah, they should have mentioned her. I don't even know the context of it. If it was a brief thing, then yeah, they could mention like Janet Guthrie and Danica and Shauna Robinson, and then that'd be like the only three names they mentioned. If they mentioned Hailie Deegan, I guess they should have mentioned Natalie, but I don't even know. Again, I didn't even see it. The point is, I don't think she should have tweeted this. I just think it comes off as, being a complainer. And that's not something you want. So it's always best to let the fans do the talking and you do the driving. So that's my take on it. And there you go. And with that, I am done. I will be back sometime later this week to preview Atlanta. Got a big weekend coming up. I believe it is a triple header weekend with Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. I'll have to check on that right here. Getting the schedule pulled up. The site never wants to work. And yes, it is in fact a triple header weekend. It looks like we're going to have 2 races on Saturday, Trucks and Xfinity, and then Cup will be on Sunday. Yep. So Trucks are Saturday afternoon, the Xfinity is Saturday evening, and then Cup is, of course, on Sunday afternoon. So I'll be back probably Friday to preview that race weekend, and that is it. Everybody have a great day.